Everyone wants to feel strong. But what if I told you true strength has nothing to do with power? Because no matter how skilled you are, how deadly you become, the real war is not against your enemies. It's against your own mind. This is the story of Miyamoto Musashi, a man who started as a savage, and through pain, failure, and brutal discipline, forged an unbreakable mind. A mind you can learn from, if you dare face your own weaknesses. What if strength was your greatest weakness? Most people think power means dominance. They think if you're stronger, faster, deadlier, you win. That's exactly how Musashi started. He was born into chaos. No father, no guidance, only violence. His first lessons weren't about wisdom or honor. They were about survival. As a young warrior, Musashi didn't fight with skill. He fought like a beast. Wild, relentless. His sword wasn't a tool, it was pure instinct. Win or die, nothing else mattered. But here's the trap. Raw power feels intoxicating until you meet someone stronger. Musashi was feared because of his aggression, but inside, he was driven by fear. Fear of losing, fear of weakness, fear of being nothing. He believed that more violence would erase the fear. But the more he fought, the emptier he became. The victories meant nothing. The bloodshed solved nothing. Because true strength isn't about overpowering others. It's about mastering yourself. And at this stage, Musashi was a slave, not to enemies, but to his own uncontrolled mind. What comes next is the moment most people never reach, the collision with failure that forces real growth. What happens when your power fails and you're left naked in front of reality? Musashi thought brute strength was enough, until reality punched back. At the Battle of Sekigahara, he faced warriors far beyond his wild instincts. Here, his raw aggression collapsed. He was defeated, humiliated, exposed. No amount of rage could save him. No swing of the sword could hide the truth anymore. He wasn't invincible. He was just lost. But here's where most people break. When failure strips away your ego, you're left with two options: collapse and make excuses, or face the brutal truth and rebuild. For the first time, Musashi saw it. His greatest enemy wasn't outside. It wasn't the opponents. It was inside. It was his undisciplined mind. This pain, this collapse, it wasn't a punishment. It was the door to something greater. Because real growth never starts with success. It starts when you're broken. And Musashi, he chose to walk through that door. How far would you go to rebuild your mind from nothing? After humiliation broke him, Musashi disappeared, not to hide, but to rebuild. While others chased fame, wealth, or comfort, he chose isolation. Mountains, silence, endless repetition. Every swing of his sword wasn't about defeating an enemy. It was about defeating himself. The fear, the anger, the chaos inside his mind. He stripped away distractions, no applause, no audience, no shortcuts. Day after day, year after year, he faced the one opponent that never leaves you alone, your own weakness. This was not physical training. It was spiritual warfare. Because true discipline isn't forcing yourself to train. It's choosing to train when no one is watching, when no one cares, when there's no reward waiting. In those mountains, Musashi wasn't building muscle. He was forging something far more dangerous, an unbreakable mind. The man who returned from that isolation was no longer the wild beast who fought out of fear. He was something much harder to kill. What happens next proves just how powerful that mind became. What if the moment you feared most was the moment you finally mastered fear? The duel against Sasaki Kojiro wasn't just a fight. It was a confrontation with death itself. Kojiro was everything Musashi once admired. Elegant, deadly, precise. A master swordsman whose technique was feared across Japan. Years earlier, this fight would have terrified Musashi. But not now. Standing on that shore, waiting for Kojiro, Musashi was late on purpose. Not out of arrogance, but to control the battlefield, to control his mind. The younger Musashi would have rushed in, reckless, desperate to prove something. The new Musashi was silent. No emotion, no rush, no fear. Because fear only controls you when you let it. And he had already buried his. As the duel began, it ended almost instantly. One strike, one kill. Precision born from years of mastering not just technique, but emotion. He didn't defeat Kojiro by being stronger. He defeated him by being calmer. Because true power isn't the absence of fear. It's the ability to act despite fear. This victory wasn't about fame. It was a confirmation. Musashi had finally conquered the enemy within. But the war inside him wasn't over yet. What if your greatest strength was needing nothing? Most warriors fight to prove something. Fame, status, recognition. They crave the applause, the fear in their enemies' eyes, the world watching their victories. But not Musashi. After Kojiro, something inside him shifted. The hunger for external validation died. He stopped chasing titles. He no longer cared who watched, who praised, who feared him. Because true mastery isn't when others admire you. It's when you no longer need them to. Desire is the mind's greatest trap. The more you chase it, the more it controls you. The more you feed it, the emptier you feel. Musashi understood this. So he chose detachment. Freedom from praise, freedom from comparison, freedom from needing anything outside of himself. This wasn't weakness. It was liberation. Because when nothing controls you, you become unstoppable. No one can manipulate you with rewards or threats. No one can take from you what you've already released. In abandoning desire, Musashi unlocked a level of strength few ever touch. A mind no longer at war with itself. But there was still one more fear to face, the ultimate one. What if you stopped fearing death because you accepted it was always there? Most people run from death. They pretend it's far away. They deny it, hoping to escape the anxiety that comes with knowing everything can end. Musashi did the opposite. He faced death. Not once, not twice, but every single day. He walked with it, trained with it, lived with it beside him. Because death isn't a distant shadow. It's always right here, beside all of us. Musashi didn't fight this truth. He embraced it, accepted that every breath could be the last. And in that acceptance, something remarkable happened. The fear vanished, because you cannot fear what you've already made peace with. This is where most people fail. They believe ignoring death keeps them safe, but in reality, that denial weakens them. It makes them fragile, desperate, anxious. Musashi was different. By carrying death as a silent companion, he stripped it of power. Because when you no longer fear losing your life, you finally become free to live it fully. And now, his mind had reached a level most will never touch. But one final battle remained, the battle that no sword could win. What if your final enemy was the voice inside your own head? For years, Musashi battled opponents with swords, but the real fight was never about steel. It was about silence, about control, about mastering the storm inside. Most people are prisoners of their minds, chained by fear, driven by desire, crushed by regret. Even after victory, many warriors fall into emptiness. Their identity was built on conflict. When the battles end, so do they. Musashi refused that fate. He understood that the sword was never his true enemy. His mind was. So he turned his discipline inward. He battled his impulses, his pride, his ego, his endless hunger for more. Every day became a quiet war, to stay grounded, to stay calm, to stay free. Because the hardest war isn't on the battlefield. It's waking up every morning and choosing to master yourself. Again. No shortcuts, no audience, no applause. Only discipline, only control, only peace through relentless self-command. In conquering his own mind, Musashi reached a state few even dream of, an unshakable mind. The battles with others were over, but the discipline to guard his mind would last for life. What if true mastery was not having everything, but needing nothing? By this stage, Musashi had transcended what most warriors chase: victory, fame, even survival. He didn't crave more battles. He didn't seek recognition. He didn't care who knew his name. Because mastery isn't about adding more. It's about letting go. Letting go of fear. Letting go of pride. Letting go of attachment. Musashi reached what some call nothingness. Not emptiness, but peace. He no longer needed external battles to define him. His war had always been internal, and now, even that war had grown silent. When you need nothing, no one can control you. No loss can break you. No victory can seduce you. No fear can paralyze you. This is the highest form of freedom. Not the absence of struggle, but the absence of inner conflict. While others spent their lives chasing fleeting wins, Musashi carried something far rarer: unshakable calm, unbreakable discipline, a mind immune to chaos. But his greatest legacy wouldn't be the duels he won. It would be the wisdom his journey revealed. And those lessons are what can change your life, too. What if everything you fear is the very thing that can make you unbreakable? You've been told to chase success, to avoid failure, to run from fear, to seek comfort. But Musashi's life exposes the lie behind all of it. He wasn't strong because life was easy. He became strong because life broke him again and again. And instead of hiding, he faced it. The humiliations, the defeats, the loneliness, the uncertainty. He didn't resist the pain, he used it. He trained with it. He let it carve away everything unnecessary. That's why most people stay weak, because they believe comfort is safety. But comfort is the cage. Pain is the teacher. Musashi's mind didn't become unbreakable by avoiding life's storms. It became unbreakable by walking straight into them. Calm, focused, disciplined. And that's the lesson most never learn. You don't control what happens, but you always control how you face it. Your job isn't to escape difficulty. Your job is to use it to forge yourself. Musashi showed the way. Now, it's your turn. You thought this was just a story about a samurai, but it's a blueprint for your life. Musashi didn't win because he was born stronger. He won because he mastered what most people avoid. He accepted failure. He faced fear. He surrendered desire. He trained without applause. He embraced death. And in doing so, he built what few ever do: a mind that cannot be broken. That's what true strength is. Not how much you lift, not how many battles you win, but how much control you have over yourself. Most people spend their lives reacting to emotions they never learned to master. Musashi mastered them. He didn't eliminate fear. He neutralized its power. He didn't chase success. He detached from its grip. And you don't need a sword to follow his path. You just need the courage to face the war inside your own mind. Because that battle is waiting for you right now. If this helps shift your mindset, hit like and subscribe. Because mastering your mind isn't a one-time lesson. It's a war you fight every single day. And on this channel, you'll find the stories, the lessons, and the strategies to win that war. Every single time. Stay disciplined, stay unbreakable,